Hello, YouTube family. It's your girl Marie. I'm coming to you with another video. I'm excited about this video because this is something that I use often while researching. So if you like this content, please like, please subscribe, please share, and I really, 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 really appreciate you guys when watching my video. So let's get right into it. So one of the best documents for family history is drum roll. Death certificates. Death certificates. Yep. Death certificates. Why? If I'm successful, I put a probably here a picture of a death certificate. Um, and death certificates has lots and lots of information. Death certificates, when you're gathering your evidence for whatever person you working on or family. Um, sorry, y'all. Death certificates is one of the things that you want to find net find first with next to birth certificate. So death certificates is like my number one, and then birth certificates, and then like marriage certificates. So again, it's considered a primary document for me. Um, it provides you with the person's name that's deceased, um, their date of birth, how old they were, if they were married, who they married to, how they died. Um, let's see, how long they stayed in the hospital, if it was a stay in the hospital, um, who was the informant, meaning who gave the doctor or nurse the information about the patient, which is invaluable. And I'll give you an example of that in a minute when I use that information. Let's see, how I did say how that person died. Um, oh, address where they live. So it's invaluable. Who was the undertaker? Meaning who came in and got possession of the body for the funeral. All of that information. Even talk. Sometimes I've seen them even have burial. I do want to make a disclaimer that every death certificate is not the same as far as states. So states' death certificates are different. I'm used to dealing with older death certificates because I research people that most likely are deceased. I mean, years and years and years. So the new ones that they have now, as you'll see, hopefully on the screenshot, that they have a lot more information than back in the day. Okay, so with that being said, um, why do you need this information? You can have a person named Jane Smith, right? And we all know Smith, Johnson, um, Gray. They're very very Anderson. They're common names. So you want to have that information to back up this person. So say you have a John Smith and you have another John Smith. You have a John Smith that lives in Richmond, Virginia, and both of the John Smiths live in Richmond, Virginia, or one of them live in Henrico, Virginia. Which, if you know anything about Virginia, it's not that far apart, right? So how do you know if you don't know all the information on this person? You're researching them, trying to gather information. That death certificate could help you with um, making the difference of who is who, right? So if you see, oh, they were married to James Johnson, be like, oh, okay, that was her husband's name. And then you look at the informant, meaning who gave the information. It could say Betty Johnson, daughter. And you like, oh, that's Betty, that's Betty. And one instance for that I use for that, that's not what I'm trying to say. When I was looking at some documents, start over. When I was looking at some documents regarding my dad's side, again, as I told y'all previously, I didn't know much about my father's side at all. He was very secretive. I don't know why, because his family history is amazing. But maybe in that time that he grew up in the um, 1920s, he didn't think it was so, so great. And I'm sure he had his issues. But getting back to it, when I was researching my dad's side of the family, um, with the help of my older sister, she helped me with some aunt names and things like that. And I was able to um, see Aunt Fanny on a lot of the family death certificates. And I believe Fanny was the youngest. Fanny was the youngest, and she was the informant on a lot. So I started using Aunt Fanny as a person. I knew I was on the right track. So I would use her as a key person and say, okay, now let me see, because Johnson is a common name. Like, okay, this Jack Johnson, this is Jack Johnson. He lives like a mile down the street from this Johnson. How do I know? When I seen Aunt Fanny, I was like, okay. And then all the other information on it made sense. So those little clues and keys in those death records help you to set a stage for the right family, because you would not believe how many times people, including myself, chase the wrong family. That's why it's important to follow the DNA. And I know people are against doing DNA, but I'm telling you, you can do a lifetime of work researching a family that's not even yours, because you don't have that backup with the DNA. And I don't want to get off topic, but I just want y'all to know how important doing your DNA, if you're serious about researching, because you can build your family tree and all of that stuff, but that stuff is not solidified if you don't have that DNA. You can prove it with records, but are getting hard. And it's for me, it solidifies um the information that I've found on paper or history, right? So, you know, you can do what you like as far as not doing DNA testing, but it will help you in your research. So, again, death certificates is invaluable. Um, Along with, I'm going to just go ahead and throw in birth certificates. Again, you're going to come back here once you research, or if you already been researching, put comments down below. And people who has been researching like myself will tell you that you will run up against people all the time with the same names. You be like, good Lord, y'all couldn't think of any other names? Or you will have one family that has 5 James. Like, okay, then you gotta start looking at dates. Okay, what year was he born? Okay, what year was he born? Lord forgive me, don't have twins. So again, that information will help you. If you have a birth certificate, the birth certificate said, okay, if you kind of luring, like, I don't know if Jack was his father. But if you have that birth certificate, then that backs it up that okay, okay. Because I've had, of course, instances like that, like, I don't know if his father is the same as the other children. Myself, I'm the same way. We have 11 siblings. I'm the last child, and I am not. And before me is 8 siblings that all have the same father. Okay, so you have to have documents. I see it all the time. People will invite you to their tree, or they'll have their tree open. I came across one today where I was looking at, I think it's Saponi, Native Americans, and my cousin didn't have. He just had the man picture. I mean, beautiful picture. His picture and his name and stuff. But I always go to look for the document, and I went for the document, and anybody could put that there. How do I know that this man it he's a person definitely, but how do I know he comes from this couple and that's their son or he's their father? You have to have documentation. You have to have documentation. Again, death certificate is one of my is my favorite so far. Um, Birth certificates, marriage license. It's a lot of people, including my mom and dad, that never was married. Okay. But if you have a marriage certificate, you can say, oh, okay. Like I'll see somebody named Mary King, and then I'll see their children last name is Johnson. That is an indicator right there that that person, that King, Mary King, probably was married to a Johnson. So you have to be careful with that. You have to be watchful with that. Get your documents. Find your death certificate. Obituaries is amazing. 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 Now, I'm going to go ahead and put obituaries after the death certificates. And you say, oh, why after? Well, obituaries do give you the person that they were married to, possibly. They'll give you children. They're not going to give you the grandchildren. They're not going to give you the parents that was, their parents, because their parents probably was gone. I mean, sometimes they do it say preceded by, and they'll put their parents, but I've seen a lot of times they don't even put the deceased parents, which I think is unfortunate. Has this shown me that when we're doing death certificates that I want to do in more detail, and I do know it costs more money, but for me as a family historian, it's more valuable to put that information in. It's going to make somebody down the line a lot happier, right? But again, when you're talking about death certificates, again, you have their name, you have where they live. That is awesome information. You know how they died. You know how old they were when they died. You know whether they were married, who they were married to. You know, it even have their parents, who their parents was. Again, the new age death certificates now. I mean, did you finish high school? And I mean, it's a long sheet now. It's very detailed. So I love that. I love that. I love that because you can definitely like kind of build a story on that. But yeah, so I do love the death certificates and the obituaries. Now, if a person was married to someone and was divorced, they're not gonna put that person in their obituary. They're gonna put that the wife that they have then when they died. So that is information you're missing. Okay, what's information you're missing? And you might probably won't have that on the death certificate either. But I'm just letting you know it's like definitely not going to be an obituary. Um, And that's something you're going to have to look again. You can look at those children's last names. Now, if they are married to a John Smith and their children's last name are Johnson, then you know, she must have been married previously. Um, so yeah. So tell me, guys, what you think about the death certificates and obituaries and marriage license and birth records. They are definitely my top um, documents that I like to watch. I know this is a little short, it's about 15 something minutes, but I didn't want to hold you up long. I just wanted to talk to you about documents and how important it is to have backup documents. Please, 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 I want to just say this other thing is please make sure you keep the wife's maiden name. That means maiden name means the name she had, last name she had before she got married, the name she was born with. When you're building your tree, please don't lose the ladies, the women last name. I see it all the time. And it's unfortunate because they lose their identity. Make sure we know that she's married to James Johnson. We see him on the tree. And if you have the marriage certificate, we see that too. We don't need you to remind us that James Johnson is her husband. He's there on the tree with her and and the kids are under them. Keep her name. Keep her last name. If she was Mary Johnson, put that on the tree. Don't put her as Mary Smith because she married John Smith. I beg you, don't lose the woman's identity. We have to look high and low for their parents. Ask questions. I told y'all in a previous video, I was young, I didn't know what to ask. I wish I did. Ask questions. And lastly, I went to Salt Lake City, Utah last year for the genealogy conference. It's the world's biggest, I think the world's biggest genealogy conference. And I met a young man named Raymond. And I think Raymond was about 20, 21 years old. And it just made my heart so happy to see him there all by himself and researching, getting tips on how to research his family. And oh my God, he's gonna be well, he is wonderful, but he's gonna do wonderful things for his family because he still have probably great grandmother and all of that. So it's amazing. I love it that he started so young. I wish I knew to ask questions and to start that young, but you can start today. It's never too late. So you guys, please like, please subscribe, please share. Again, I want to thank you so very kindly for watching my videos. I hope these videos are helping you. God bless. Have a great day. And please, please, please stay warm. Bye.